Mix Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Mix Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Mix Design.
Hawg fanatics, we at Inside the Hawg Pen are thrilled to announce that SeatGeek is now a sponsor. As brand ambassadors, we're excited to share SeatGeek as a ticket app that simplifies the ticket buying process for all your favorite events. They provide a 0 to 10 score for each ticket, with green indicating a good deal and red indicating a not-so-good deal. As a special offer, Hawg fanatics can get $20 off their first ticket purchase by using the code INSIDEHOGPEN. Check out our socials for the link, and remember to use the code INSIDEHOGPEN.
This is where the fun begins.
What is up, everybody?
But we've seen this movie before.
What's Sam Pittman known for?
I don't know.
Exactly. Is the Arkansas athletic program cursed? You never know what the loudest mouth in the fan base and his wild band of misfits are going to say.
I have a river of Kool-Aid for basketball.
It's time to step inside the Hawg Pen.
Well, welcome in, everybody, and welcome to the Hawg Pen for this special edition on a Wednesday night. We got baseball tomorrow night, so we're not going to go head-to-head with that. As you can see, it's not Razorback Zach joining me tonight. This is my boy D-Mad in the house tonight. What's up, D?
Oh, man, another day running around like a chicken with my head cut off.
Yep, I know the feeling, and it's been that way all day, but we're about to have some fun tonight because we have a very special guest lined up tonight, somebody we've been trying to get on for a while. We finally shot our shot, and we went DJ Wagner from 3, man. We made the shot, and without further ado, we're going to bring him in, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Inside Arkansas, and one of the OGs of the trough of the student section, the one and only John Nabors. John, appreciate you coming inside the Hawg Pen, man.
It's good to be on with you guys. Yeah, I know it's something that's been a long time coming, and I'm glad we can make it work. So it's good to be on with you.
So if you're not familiar with John Nabors, I don't know why you wouldn't be. Why have you been under a rock? Why have you been out of the country or whatever? But inside Arkansas, if there happens to be somebody that's not familiar with it, John, give us the 10-second elevator speech.
Yeah, so basically, Inside Arkansas is kind of the way forward. I think a lot of people and how they consume their sports media nowadays. So whether it's podcasting, live streaming, and social media. And everything, it's more about just hitting a play button and people telling you what's going on instead of you having to read about it or navigate through it all and everything. So, but yeah, it's an awesome thing that, it's kind of been a dream of mine to have my own company and to start something like this. And it's going really well so far. So hopefully it continues to do that.
Well, I would say that's an understatement, man, because I watch the show pretty much every day while I'm at work, and it helps me get through my work day, and the views are always skyrocketing through the roof, man, and you guys are entertaining as hell. So I really enjoy watching.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Yeah, we try to be because it's my thing is I always say I don't have to be right, I just have to be interesting.
There you go.
As long as there's things that are interesting to people that they continue to see and to consume, it makes it a lot more fun for us. It's a lot of work, especially dealing with everything and, making sure that the company runs well. And making sure, everybody's getting taken care of and everything, but it's worthwhile. And it's definitely been a lucrative start. And again, be nice if the Razorbacks help us out a little bit here and there, but we'll take what we can get. And it's been great. Can't wait to see what the future holds.
Well, and the job's always a little bit easier when the teams are good too. That always, controversy does create cash, but there's only so many ways you can talk about a loss after loss after loss. But you have a good year like basketball did this year, and it definitely makes it a lot more fun. So along that line, what's your take on year one with Cal?
Well, I mean, it's kind of about the result, right? I just felt like when Cal was first hired, the expectation, of course, comes with it. But knowing the situation that he had at Kentucky and how those fans wanted him gone and everything, it was a feeling of, well, you got a Hall of Fame coach, and he hasn't made the NCAA tournament second round, at least, in quite some time. So is it something that he's over the hill? Can he not coach anymore? I never felt like it was that. But I do feel like it's such a crapshoot when you get to the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize, and I say this all the time, I don't think people realize truly how difficult it is to win in the NCAA tournament. It's not a cliche. Like, you see teams all the time have these great years and these great seasons, and it comes all to an end in the first game of the tournament. I mean, Kentucky was one of those teams when they were a 2 seed. They lost to St. Peter's. Boom, done. It was over. And so it doesn't mean anything if you don't advance far. And it's the opposite way too, can be true, where this regular season may be pretty rough. It may not be great. It may have a lot of frustrations. But if you just get to the Sweet 16, for instance,
right,
it makes everything so much better. And that was really my expectation for Cal going into year one was, you want to win a national championship. You want to do this, that, and the other. But I was like, hey, just get to the second weekend. And anything above that is icing on the cake. And he did. I don't think it was in the way that we all thought it would be, but he did it. And it was a fun ride. No doubt about it.
Speaking of the NCAA tournament, how was your trip to Providence and San Francisco?
Oh man, it was a lot.
That's a good way to put it, man.
It was a trip where I felt like anytime you go to the NCAA tournament, it's a fun trip. Like, it really is. And if anybody's not been and you have a chance to go, please do. It is an enjoyable thing. The chaos of it all is just, you have no idea what you're going to have to do or where you're going to have to end up. And you got days, minutes to get it all together. And that's really what sucks about it is, me and Curtis and Andrew were sitting there on Selection Sunday, we had multiple tabs open, just waiting for, all right, where our flights, or are we going to fly? We're going to drive. I mean, we could end up in someplace like Providence, or we could end up in someplace like Seattle. Like, we don't know. It's just literally a roll of the dice. And so when it ended up being Providence, I had my power rankings of which places I wanted it to be, just for, money wise and travel wise.
Yeah.
And Providence was second to last on my list of places I wanted to go. Just because it's not an easy place to get to, but we did really luck out and get, some good flights and, pretty easy going there. And I'll say, like, I've been to San Francisco before. I was there for the tournament a few years ago. So it's fine and everything. But Providence was a pretty cool city. It's not a place that I'll be like, hey man, I can't wait to go back. I'm going to book a vacation there. But it was definitely some place that I can at least say, hey, I went. It wasn't miserable. It wasn't dumb. It wasn't a waste of time. Had some really cool parts of it. The people were really nice. And it was very historic. So I'm glad I went. I'm glad I got to check it out. But I could really do without the East Coast and the West Coast in back-to-back weekends.
What's the difference?
I did that when I went to Buffalo and San Francisco. And I really don't want to do that again. So hopefully the next tournament that Arkansas makes, that won't have to be a problem. It could be just a little bit closer and a little bit easier to travel to.
How many miles is that between Providence and San Francisco? It's got to be at least a couple thousand.
Oh, easily. Yeah. I think that we were jokingly looking at how long it would take it for us to drive from Providence to San Francisco.
Oh,
I think nonstop everything was going to take literally 2 days, like 48 hours straight to drive. So we decided against that. We decided to just deal with it and find a way. We ended up having to just because of the expensive nature of the tickets and everything, what we ended up doing is driving from Fayetteville to Dallas and then just flying direct out of Dallas to San Francisco.
Don't try to fly out of Little Rock. I found that out the hard way trying to go to Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I used to work at the Buzz, there was a couple of trips where they would pay for everything, but then there's some trips where like, okay, we're going to need you to drive down Dallas and figure it out, which is not too bad because I hate flying with a burning passion. I hate everything about it. So the less I have to fly, the less I have to do connection flights, the less I have to be on a plane and dealing with it, the better. So if it means driving 4 or 5 hours to Dallas, so be it. I'll take it all day long.
And I got a question for you. Sorry, MC, if I'm about to.
No, you're good. You're good.
It kind of just shiny thinged in my head. You know, I remember like you were on the Vice documentary. How was that going behind the scenes on all that?
Yeah, it was awesome. You know, I was honored actually when they reached out to me because you know, and this may come as quite a shock, but I get a lot of weird DMs and a lot of weird stuff sent to me. And so it's hard to sometimes navigate through what's real and what's not, what's actually legit and what's not. But they reached out to me and they said that they had, I think it was the shocking thing is that they had talked to people at the university and they said, oh, if you're looking for somebody that's kind of a voice of the fans or somebody who's a fan himself or whatever, like look up John Nabors, which I was happy about, but I didn't really know what to expect because they're like, hey, we're going to do this thing on Cal. We want to sit you down. We want to interview you and need you to talk about all of this. And I was like, well, I mean, I used to hate him and then he became my coach and now he's the greatest coach I've ever had. Like, I mean, it's just how it goes. But it was cool though. It was really, I like seeing the behind the scenes stories like that and told like that, especially from a third party, you know, where these people, they work for Omaha Productions, which is the company that's kind of founded by the Manning brothers and everything. And it was going to be on Vice. And, you know, they had no agenda, no narrative, not like, hey, let's make sure that we make this look good or anything. It was just, hey, let's get in there, unedited, unfiltered, tell a story. And so I really like that element of it. And I hope they come back. I don't know if they will. I don't know if they're even going to be asked or whatever. But I really hope that they would come back next season because it was enjoyable to get to just talk freely about it and to be in it. I was not expecting to be like the first scene in it, which, you know, I was sitting there at Tin Roof in Fayetteville just hanging out. And they're like, yeah, we'll interview you here. I was like, yeah, perfect. Why not? But it was cool, though. It was a really cool documentary. And the more information, the more stuff we can get out from John Calipari's basketball program, the better off I think everybody is, and a lot easier it is on me to understand what the crap's going on half the time.
Well, and you know, to kind of expand on the documentary there, you know, they also did one on Rick Pitino. The guys at Omaha Productions and Vice 2 almost have to be feeling like geniuses right now because of the way the season ended up. And you got your two guys that have the documentaries facing off against each other in the second round to get to go to the Sweet 16. I mean, that's kind of a storybook ending from a production standpoint on it.
Yeah, I still need to watch the Rick Pitino one. I've been meaning to do it because he's definitely an entertaining and an interesting guy. And so, yeah, that worked out perfectly for him. And I would talk to them about like, what was the approach of wanting to do this on John Calipari. What it sounded like to me is they knew that this was a big deal in college basketball. And they're like, hey, let's just talk to Cal's people and see if he'd be interested. And as soon as they emailed the people, I guess his representation, they got an email back like 5 minutes later, says, yeah, sure, let's do it. It was very simple. Just, hey, yeah, absolutely. More publicity, the better. And I think that, you know, people were just like, oh, Vice, what is that? Where's that at? I don't even know what channel it's on. It's like, well, there's no channel numbers anymore. If you're watching still on channel numbers, you're behind the times. But it was a legitimate production. Like it was a legitimate thing and was on a legitimate platform. So yeah, I thought that I thought it was about, you know, there's still some things I would have liked to have seen, but as far as getting what we could get out of it, it was really good.
I was impressed with it. I watched every episode of the Cal one. I watched a couple of the Pitino one just because I'm the old head of our group, and I remember, you know, Nolan and Rick Pitino going head to head year after year after year, and I always had. I never really hated Pitino. I hated Kentucky with a passion, still do, but I never had that hate for Pitino. It was like, man, if he goes anywhere else, I could be a fan of his big time. And then when he went over to Louisville, it was a little easier to like him. Because Arkansas and Louisville don't have the history that Arkansas and Kentucky have. And I love the fact that the Arkansas-Kentucky rivalry is headed back to where it was in the 90s. because I remember playing on Super Bowl Sunday and being the lead in to the Super Bowl with Corliss and Scotty and, Jeff Shepard and Roderick Rhodes and Tony Delk and all those guys. I think Mark Pope was even on that team. And to get that rivalry back to where it was when I was a kid is just, to me, I love it. I mean, but I just absolutely love it. I have trolled Kentucky fans all year long from February 1st at about 10:30 p.m. through today. I still troll Kentucky fans every chance I get on social media just because they were so volatile leading up to that game. And, if I remember right, you guys went to Lexington. I mean, what was that like seeing the fire drill basically at Rupp Arena with, 3.5 minutes left in the game?
It was hilarious.
Yes.
I think that's just the way I had to put it, because going into that game, people probably remember, but it's not like Arkansas was exactly banging on all cylinders. They were 1-6.
Yeah.
They barely beat Georgia. And then on that Saturday, or previously, they lost to Oklahoma at home, which at the time was a horrible loss.
Yeah.
And it just was like, what? Seriously? I know that I thought it was going to be okay after the Georgia game, and then they dropped that one. And then you have Kentucky, who at the time also, Kentucky was flying pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
Had some good wins on their resume. And Arkansas had a week off. And so I remember when the schedule came out originally for the SEC, that day I booked the trip to Lexington, like that day for all of us. I'm like, we're going to this. Like, this is going to be the event. And got a heck of a deal on a flight and everything. So it really worked itself out. But when I was there in Lexington, we did our shows from the KS Bar, which of course is the Kentucky Sports Radio people. And I know people have their own feelings about like Matt Jones and all those guys, but they're good dudes. Like, I really love those guys. Like, I mean, we play characters, we troll, we talk trash, but they're good dudes. And I just didn't have any confidence that Arkansas was going to win. I really didn't.
I didn't either.
I didn't think that they were going to. I just didn't think that they were at that point in time. And and those Kentucky fans, a lot of them were very like a lot of them were really cool. In fact, most of them were. Most of them were just like, hey, we root for Cal, except tomorrow. Like, we miss him. Yeah. We love him. We root for him. But again, it's Kentucky, it's only time. But there was still a lot of animosity and jokes being thrown out. It's like, see, we tried to tell you guys about Cal, blah, blah, blah. But when the game was about to end, I was lucky enough to have a really good seat. And I was sitting with another Razorback fan, and me and her were the only two red-shirted people, I think, in the entire lower bowl. I mean, we stood out like a sore thumb. I was in the seats were so tough to come by. I was sitting next to a state representative out of Kentucky. Like, it was just like very hard to get into. And when the game ended, she had to leave early, so it's just me. And a lot of these Kentucky fans knew who I was because of my videos and all that.
Right.
And I turned around when I was about to walk out, and I saw the looks of those Kentucky fans. And it was a look that I was familiar with, because their soul had been snatched from their body.
Yeah.
Because they wanted something so badly.
Yep.
They didn't get it. And they cannot believe, of all the games, of all the days, of all the times, to not win a basketball game. That one was hurtful to them. And so to walk out of there where I had no skin in the game. I mean, if Arkansas lost, it was like, oh yeah, I mean, your guys are better and we're not very good.
Right.
But to win, that's what made it so hilarious. And seeing that and walking out, oh man, I was trying not to crow too much, but I was definitely having some fun with it.
So what it reminded me of, and you'll remember this as well. You remember 2008, Petrino's first year, when Ole Miss comes to Fayetteville and Nutt comes back. I on one of our shows after that Arkansas Kentucky game, I said, I was at the 2008 Arkansas Ole Miss game when Nutt come back in, and Razorback Stadium was pretty lit that night, because they wanted so badly to beat Houston. And I mean, I was so volatile that, it was just, that's a different story for a different time. But, I kind of feel like, okay, this is what, the way Kentucky fans felt about Cal coming back as a whole, of how bad they wanted to beat him, really reminded me of the way Arkansas was in that first game when Nutt came back as the head coach at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think that's probably the closest thing that you could relate to it. I guess the difference was, though, to me at least, is it wasn't like the Houston Nutt thing was the fact that he went to another school and like didn't have to do the buyout and, put the golden handcuffs on
golden
him.
handcuffs.
Yeah. And, and on top of that, like everybody, the national media was ripping the Petrino hire because he left the Falcons, and Nutt took over a team that was put together by Ed Orgeron that had stupid amount of talent. And he once again benefited off of somebody else's shoulders. That's what Houston Nutt does.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's what made it worse. And we should have won that game. It was still a terrible call on the offensive pass interference call, because I do.
London Crawford, I believe, was who got called for that. Yeah.
Yep. London Crawford. Shea Haddock would have made that kick. I feel good about it. But, that was probably as close as you could get to it. And that there was animosity, but man, it was, I don't know if you'll ever see another atmosphere like that in Rupp, which I'll be honest, Rupp, I went to Auburn, great atmospheres and everything, but still doesn't hold a candle to Bud Walton at its best. But it was just weird seeing them act the way they did. And then like every time DJ Wagner touched the ball, they booed him mercilessly.
Yeah.
and I get like, hey, whatever. But then when I start tweeting, like, man, they really hate DJ Wagner. And people are like, well, we don't hate him. I was like, y'all are booing him louder than if you guys got called for a bad foul call. Like, you guys hate this dude. So it was just nice to be on the receiving end, like the positive side for once, because I feel like as a Razorback fan, you're always on the other side of it. So it's just nice to have that.
Yeah. Hey, we'll got a couple more questions and then we'll let you get out of here, because we know you've done the live thing all day, and it's like a dentist going home and looking at pictures of teeth. After a day of work, you don't want to sit here and look at pictures of teeth all night. But just one thing real quick about football, we were kind of transitioning over to that. What is your take about there not being a whole lot of buzz around spring football this year? Is it just where the game is, or is it more of the thing of the portal playing a role? And if coaches don't talk about who's doing good, maybe there's less chance those guys get poached. I mean, what's your feeling on it? Because it just feels like to me there is no buzz this year about spring ball.
No, there isn't. And, I think it's a combination of college football in general. The spring football element is not there. It's just not. It ran its course. Yeah. There was a reason why it was always exciting. And I think, and maybe I look too much into it, but I think a lot of it has to do with that SEC basketball has become so good that SEC basketball fans have become a lot more alert, a lot more interested, and with the transfer portal have become more invested in that than caring about spring football, because it's like, okay, we already know the roster and everything, or maybe we don't, because everything's brand new. But I think that the basketball hype and energy is there a lot more, at least in the SEC, than in football. So I think it's a combination of that. But I also just think that Razorback fans are fatigued with it. There's nothing. Like even last year, you had Petrino in his first year back. You had Taylon Green, a new quarterback, and I really like Taylon Green, and I love Bobby Petrino.
Yeah,
but it's like people like new things. They like energy. They like new energy. And there's none of that there. There's no energy surrounding the program because you have retention of coaches and your quarterback's back, and that's great. And I think they'll do good. But I mean, you didn't get any big names out of the portal. Yeah. You didn't return. As far as big names on your team from last year, you didn't return any of those.
Well, and you lose a couple big names too. Satania moving over to Oklahoma, did he live up to expectations? Not really, but you had to figure that in year 2 under the Petrino offense, he was probably going to grow just like everybody's expecting Taylon Green to grow.
Yeah. My theory is if he's good enough to play at Oklahoma, he's good enough to play at Arkansas.
100%.
Same thing with the Ole Miss kids that had they took.
Yeah, I didn't even try to talk about that because that's a whole. Yeah. Good Lord, you could do a whole show on that. Just in the ones that I prefer to call them traitors because of where they went to. But
hey, John, MC here, we kind of give him credit because he's we call him our closet Ole Miss fan because he always seems to go down to whatever Mississippi that is and go watch the Arkansas game in Mississippi every year.
Okay, I live in Jonesboro, so it is a lot easier drive for me to go to Oxford every other year and watch Arkansas than to come to Fayetteville. It's literally half the drive. So and I've got some friends that live right outside of Oxford too. So, I mean, it's a cheap trip for me. So, and I do like Lane Kiffin. I mean, I like Chris Beard. I like Lane Kiffin. I can't stand Mike Bianca, but I do like Lane Kiffin. I don't know. There's something about the smart assedness of him that I really like.
No, I get it. I think there's like a little bit of an element of jealousy there because I feel like Arkansas should have what Ole Miss has when it comes to all major programs that they have.
And to know that their success is being built by a guy that's a native Arkansan in Keith Carter. I mean, that's extra salt on the knife as it's sticking right into your heart, because I'm old enough to remember him toasting Arkansas as a player, and now he's just continuing to do it as an administrator. So it's, it's not fun.
It's that. And as long as you're not going down there to experience the most overrated thing of all time, which is the Grove.
I was highly disappointed because it was hyped up to me like, oh, dude, this is the greatest thing ever, and I walk through and I see these tents with chandeliers and, the guys wearing their sport coats and eating on the china. And I'm just like, this is not tailgating. This is posing. Yeah.
They always said that it was like the best party, of the tailgating scene.
Right.
And here's my thing. And this is like, forget all the other stuff. We could argue about it all day long, but here's my only thing and my only counter and my only argument to that. You cannot say that you have the best party in the South or in the SEC or whatever when you do not allow anyone to be carrying a beer can. And if they do, they pour it out. The cops will take it from you and pour it out in front of you. Yeah. Boy, what a party. Wow. Yeah. Don't get too crazy, you kids out there. It's like, how can you say that? Well, we're the best party in the South, but make sure that your beers are in plastic cups. It's like, man, sweet. Sign me up.
My friends that live down there, their running joke is, we are Ole Miss. We've never lost a party. So I was like, I don't know. Some of the parties I've been to compared to what I see here, I think you might have lost a party. I will say this. I will give them credit for this. When they claim to redshirt Miss Americas, that's pretty true. I will give them that.
Okay, well, let's talk about that first off, because I get an argument. This is the stupid stuff that I actually care about, but I think it's ridiculously dumb how many people will just be like, "Oh man, the girls down there at Ole Miss are the best looking ones," or the girls down, man, Georgia, they got the best. You're in the SEC. Go to an SEC school, and I guarantee you're going to see a lot of beautiful girls. Like that's not a thing that's just you. Oh, it's like, well, Ole Miss has this amount and these other SEC schools, they're a little lower. It's not like someone's keeping a counter of like, oh, well, we got more. And the one exception, see beautiful women at every major university in general, but even in the South, in the Southeastern Conference, you're going to see it. So I just think that's always ridiculous when some people be like, those girls down there. Like, well, what, you got dogs over here? Like,
I have two exceptions though. Columbia and Starkville. That might be the two exceptions.
Columbia.
Yeah.
Well, okay. If I have to tell you which Columbia, then it defeats the purpose. So, the one that's just almost straight north. So
yeah. No, I mean, I've never ventured up there. I've not had the pleasure because I'm also not very well liked up there either. But but yeah, no, I have no desire to go up there. It just seems like a place that's cold nonstop, 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
So
it's just not. It's not enticing. If you can go to Athens, or you can go to Gainesville, or even over to South Carolina, or you can go to Columbia, Missouri.
So let's segue this a little bit.
All right.
I went to Athens a couple of years ago for a baseball game. And John, what are you thinking about the baseball program so far?
I mean, they're as good as ever. I mean, they're great. And I think that, some people just have an expectation which I do too. Like I expect Omaha, just like everybody else.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's tough to do, and I get it. And you can't have. I know people are like, oh well, you're totally saying that after only 2 years of missing Omaha. I'm like, yeah, because you were a national seed the past 2 years. It wasn't like you just made it in by the hair of your chin. Like you were a legit team, and you crapped the bed in postseason. And so hopefully that doesn't happen this year. But I find it funny, and maybe I'm the one taking the crazy pills. But I think it's funny that if Arkansas loses one single game in baseball, like people just lose their minds.
I see a lot of fire Nate Thompson.
I think even more so than they do it more so than any other sport, I feel like. And I get it. You want to win every game, and you can be disappointed, but some people just like losing a midweek game when you had your 8th best pitcher out there. They're just like, classic Van Horn can't get it done. It's just so dumb. So I'm enjoying it. They're great. This past series against Georgia was tough, but I mean, you should have won. And that's what makes me feel good about it, which is in a weird way, because the reason you lost is your own mistakes, and all those mistakes are fixable. You didn't lose because they're just far and away a more talented team, and you don't even belong on the same field. No, it's you did not play great, and it cost you. So I think it's going to be fine. These next 5 series are just brutal.
Oh, yeah.
And so I feel like if they can win 3 of the next 5 final series, if they can win 3 of those, then just great. That is tremendous. But hopefully Hawg fans understand that you are going to lose some series. You are going to lose some games. It's part of baseball. Who cares? It matters what you do in postseason. Because as I say in basketball, and I'll say it in baseball, if you go to Omaha this year, no one's going to be like, you know what, that was a great season. But that series to Georgia really pisses me off. Like, no one's going to say that. No one's going to look back. Like, same thing with basketball. You made it to the Sweet 16 past year. Everyone's like, that Sweet 16 was great and all, but that LSU loss on the road, and back in November and back in January can't have it. Like, no one's going to think about that. It's a matter of doing the best you can to put yourself in a position to be successful in postseason, and then going from there. That's the only thing that matters.
That's right.
All right, John, we're going to let you get out of here with a fun question. I saw this on TikTok, and I threw this at Dylan earlier today. And the fact that it's coming from TikTok, that kind of tells you that it's going to be off the wall. There was a guy on a sports page I follow. He said, all right, here's the situation. You are offered $10 million, but you can no longer be a fan of your favorite team, and you have to be a fan of your rival. Can you do it?
For $10 million?
For $10 million.
I mean,
I kind of feel like my soul is for sale.
Yeah. Well, I guess it would depend on who the rival is, because Arkansas doesn't really have a true rival.
Right. My immediate thought was to go Kentucky basketball because I'm a hoops guy. And I'm like, God, I don't know if I could do Kentucky, but
it's either got to be Missouri or Texas.
Yeah. Oh, man.
No, Missouri's not a rival.
No.
I hate to even give them that time of day. I think it would be, $10 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I could buy a lot of tickets to go to places for that. And maybe my soul would be for sale.
And here's my little caveat to that. If I have $10 million, there's likely going to be somebody that I can pay to find a loophole to get me around this. It doesn't say I can't go to the games. It just says that I can't be a fan and root. I can go to the game and be impartial. So if I'm still getting to go to the games, that's kind of my middle ground of kind of a compromise. So, but I thought that was an interesting scenario because he was interviewing people on the street, and some people were like, "Oh yeah, I could." They were Red Sox fans. They'd be like, "Yeah, I could be a Yankee fan for $10 million." And then there were others that would be like, "Absolutely not."
No, I would take the 10 million, because
I think I would have to. Yeah,
I would take that money, and then I would set it up where I had an LLC that the entire athletic and student athletes worked for. And then I would pay them through that via NIL. And then that way I'd root for them to be successful, not the team, not the Hogs.
There you go. There you go.
Student athletes with the NIL money that I'm providing them, I want them to do well. So therefore I can root for them.
Cue the gif of the guy pointing to his temple, because that's thinking right there, man. So, all right, we've kept you long enough. We know that you do this all day, and we appreciate you taking an extra 25, 30 minutes to come on and visit with us. And doors always open if you decide you want to come back and bless us with some wisdom. But we do appreciate it, and we'll let you get out of here as we head to break. John Nabors, daily, Inside Arkansas, YouTube, Twitter, pretty much any social media outlet. So go give it a shot. I love the show. And then also, this is baseball season. Inside Arkansas is affiliated with the Bombastic podcast as well. So that podcast is amazing as well. I enjoy it. So John, appreciate it, man. You're welcome back anytime. Appreciate you guys. I don't know if it'll be words of wisdom, maybe words of BS, but I'll
I'm sure that we can do this again very soon. But I appreciate the invitation, and y'all keep up the good work. All right.
All right, we'll see you, John. And with that, we're going to step aside for a break. We're going to come back and talk transfer portal for Cal's Hogs when we come back right after this. You're watching Inside the Hog Pen.
Mix Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Mix Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Mix Design.
Hey, Hog fanatics. We at Inside the Hog Pen are thrilled to announce that SeatGeek is now a sponsor. As brand ambassadors, we're excited to share SeatGeek as a ticket app that simplifies the ticket buying process for all your favorite events. They provide a 0 to 10 score for each ticket, with green indicating a good deal and red indicating a not-so-good deal. As a special offer, Hog fanatics can get $20 off their first ticket purchase by using the code INSIDEHOGPEN. Check out our socials for the link, and remember to use the code INSIDEHOGPEN.
It's time to step back inside the Hog Pen to the Mix Design Studios.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Man, that was fun. I enjoyed talking with John. That he's always fun to talk to and listen to, man.
He's a good follow on Twitter.
He is, man. He's entertaining, and we didn't get much into his travel woes, but I got entertained very much by listening to his travel woes on Twitter when he was going. I think it started with Lexington, and then it's just like dominoes falling after that. It seemed like every trip they took, they had some kind of National Lampoon's Vacation kind of moment that happened to him along the way. But appreciate him coming on and spending a few minutes with us. So, hey, I'm going to jump back into basketball real quick, D.
Cool.
We got to talk big additions, literally and figuratively, in the portal. Two big men, two big beasts down low. You get Nick Pringle coming in from South Carolina, and Malik Ewan, I believe, is I'm probably butchering that last name, from Florida State. Couple of 6'10" guys, man. I was talking to a buddy of mine here in town, and I was like, hey, man, Cal brought in a couple twin towers. You got two guys that are about 6'10", 230, 240 pounds. And it's filling a void that I felt like this team had, because they did not have that one nasty, mean post player that could just, barrel up and get you 2 points when you had to have it.
Adu filled that role the last 5 games of the year.
Yes. When he got healthy, he was really good. I mean, it's it almost makes it a little more disappointing that we didn't get to see that until the very end of the season, because if he's healthy the whole year long, this year goes entirely different. Yeah.
And, I don't know what happened to Z. He just kind of fell off the earth. I really wish he kind of would have, got to that bruising point, but he just never got to that. And, it's unfortunate, but, we've got 2 guys coming in at 6'11" and 6'10", and one has SEC experience with Final Four experience at that. Mm-hmm. And, that might bring a sense of maturity to the team that we need.
Well, and if you look back into the game that none of us want to talk about, when Arkansas went over to Columbia, South Carolina, and got just shellacked,
Pringle about that one. It's a Sweet 16
Pringle had
game to me.
Yeah, Pringle had a big game that night, man. I mean, he had 25 and 15 or something like that. I mean, he went off. I mean, he was definitely a big factor in the game. So if he can come in and give that type of effort, I saw him play several times this year, and I mean, he was almost a walking double-double. So you get him, you get Ewan from Florida State, and then you pair that with the guys that are apparently coming back. Apparently TB's coming back, because we've not heard anything to the contrary. Those three guys alone, that's a lot of length right there, man. I don't know that you'll ever have a time where you have all three of them on the floor at the same time, but you probably have two of them. You'll probably have TB and one of the other two on the floor at the same time, because they're all very versatile in how they can play. I would say Ewan is probably the least versatile of those three guys. But
he's
Pringle,
super athletic still.
He is very athletic, but I kind of see him as more the power forward center type player, where Pringle could slide up to that small forward spot. And, he is a bit of an outside threat as well, because we saw that not only in the game at Columbia, but also in the SEC tournament, that he is a threat from outside. And so that gives you another option there. I'd still like to see Arkansas add 1 to 2 more pieces. I would like to see another swingman, another Billy Richmond type of guy that can play multiple positions from the 1 all the way to the 3. I would like to have an athletic guy like that. And then if I'm just, shopping out of Amazon for transfer portal here, the other piece that I want to go get is I want to go find an absolute assassin from 3-point range.
Can I tell you somebody that's still in the portal right now?
Yeah.
It's that second category.
Okay.
RJ Louise from St. John's is still in the portal.
He's still there. Yeah. He's the guy that Patino benched in the Arkansas game, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And he is he's a scoring machine, man, and he can do it in multiple ways.
I think he was the nation's top defender too.
I think you may be right. I would have to look that up to confirm, but I'm pretty sure you're right on that. Yeah, I would like to see him or someone like him come in. The guy that ended up at Indiana, that is a native Arkansan from Ashdown.
Lamar Wilkerson.
Yes, I was hoping to have a little more of a shot at him, but at least he went somewhere out of the conference. So
can I ask you, somebody's in the portal that that absolutely killed Arkansas.
Who's that?
Darian Williams.
Oh yeah,
from Texas Tech is in the portal right now. Yeah, he's only 6'6".
Wasn't he the one that also tweeted about don't celebrate too soon? T.O. soon. Yeah.
He's in the portal right now. And Jameer Watkins, who was also Malik. I can't even say his last name right now. Ewan's teammate. Yeah, at Florida State, and he's a small forward at 6'7". But I mean, there's still plenty of guys in the portal right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's still. I mean, I at one point I saw where there was something like over 2,000 guys that had entered the portal within the first 3 or 4 days of it being open, which is just insanity. Because
soapbox,
I know, man, and that hits everywhere. That hit over here. Arkansas State had a coaching change, and pretty much the entire roster, the ones that had eligibility left anyway, hit the portal and either followed Hodgson to South Florida, or there's still a couple. Rashad Marshall ended up at Austin P, and Darian Ford, not sure where he's going to end up yet. He's still weighing some options, but there's been multiple guys, and it's not just there. I mean, it's every team. I mean, you're seeing even Final Four teams were losing players. We saw, who was it? Was it Scottie Pippen's son at Michigan that left in the middle of their Sweet 16 run, decided he was going to hit the portal and left?
Let's be honest with each other. That doesn't surprise me coming from a Scottie Pippen child.
Well, no, it doesn't me either, but it's also the timing of it, and that goes back to, I feel like we need to change a few things with the portal. If we're going to have it, okay, absolutely, but let's put some guidelines around it. The same thing happened with football. You had teams in the playoff run for football that were losing players to the portal in the middle of a playoff run. I mean, like, what are we doing here? I don't understand this.
For a championship or not? What are we doing?
Yeah, and I mean, it's just to the point now where it's the almighty dollar is running everything, and it's not good for the game. Move the portal to start. I don't understand the difference in it starting the Tuesday after the national championship game. As soon as the national championship game's over, open the portal, then let the floodgates go.
Well, the thing is about the portal, people are entering the portal for football right now, and we were talking about this before the show started. Like, all you have to do is put in plans to enter the portal.
Right.
Like, Arkansas had a football player that was on campus for how many weeks are we into the semester right now?
Oh, yeah. Well,
7 weeks into the semester.
John Nabors tweeted earlier today. He's like, yeah, he was on campus for like 18 minutes.
Yeah. So we got a player that's been on campus for 7 weeks, probably.
Yeah.
And just now he's decided, Arkansas is not his home. How do you take 7 weeks to realize that after you spent how much time being recruited to come here?
Right.
Like the portal's I almost just dropped one. The portal's a joke, man. It's a joke. Like we can't even have.
Well, okay, so look no further.
Soapbox. Here we go.
Well, yeah, but that's okay. But look no further than what Tennessee's dealing with right now with Nico.
It's insanity. And, I have a jersey on the back of this chair. I won't tell you whose it is, but I know MC probably could take a good guess. And he was one of the NIL portal guys too.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Nico, he wanted what, $4 million?
Wanted $4 million. Yeah.
And Tennessee said, "How about you go? How about you're not Braxton anyways? Just leave."
Well, and kudos to Josh Heupel, for making his stand and saying, "No, we're not going to do this."
Well,
so
MC Josh Heupel doesn't have anything to do with NIL,
right?
To the NCAA.
Yeah. Wink, wink. Yeah.
Get out of here,
absolutely. Man. That look. This whole thing, it's gone off the rails. As my grandpa used to say, you can't unring that bell now. But what you've got to do, you've got to find, there's going to have to be some kind of governing body to go around it. And in my opinion, it can't be the NCAA because they have been neutered with all these court cases that they've lost. The NCAA has no power now because, they were about to throw sanctions at, was it Tennessee they were going to throw sanctions at, and Tennessee took them to court and won?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
and here's the thing, like it's gotten to the point where it's being argued against inside the House of Representatives.
Right.
If you know anything about our government, good luck to you once it gets to the House of Representatives.
Yeah. Well, and of all the things that government has already screwed up, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox here because this would be really easy too. Of all the things they have screwed up, the last thing we need is for the government to get involved with college sports and NIL and the portal and all that, because you talk about going from bad to worse. I mean, it would just it's that snowball running downhill at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just leave it there. I'll get off my political soapbox before it goes too far one way. So
going. What are we talking about? Baseball?
yeah, baseball. Yeah, big series. Big series starts tomorrow night. That's why we're here on Wednesday night, is because we didn't want to go head to head with Zach Root and the boys tomorrow night when they bring those weirdos from Texas A&M into town.
Yeah, and I kind of want to go back to the Georgia
mm-hmm.
series.
Yeah,
I'm kind of relieved that we lost. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'll tell you why. The past, 2-3 years, we've won almost every series every year for the past 2 to 3 years, and it hasn't gone well. In 2018, I think we started out like 1-2 going through the first 3 series, and you know what happened at the end of that, MC?
Oh yeah,
we're not going to talk about the triangle.
Yeah,
but it makes me feel good that they're actually getting a piece of this adversity early. Because whenever they see the adversity in the NCAA tournament and the College World Series, they'll know how to respond to it. And whenever they get 50 runs put up against them, like TCU, sorry, blanked out for a second. Sorry,
tighten the tinfoil here.
Sorry, Zach's not here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
not that Zach. I'm talking about him. Shut up, Dylan.
Another
MC,
inside joke, yeah.
MC. So yeah, we got the weirdos coming. Are they coming here?
Yeah, they're coming here. Yeah.
Like it seems like they're never at Bomb. We're always down there.
Yeah, it feels like we always go down to Bluebell a lot more than they come up here. But yeah, it's going to be big weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday series, and then Saturday's also the spring game. Which we talked about that with John, that there's just not any buzz around football right now, and basketball being as good as it was and baseball being where it is, that definitely plays a role in it. But were you surprised to see, Gage Wood just got cleared to come back, and he's immediately put in to the starting lineup to replace Gabe Gackle as a starter. I was a little shocked initially, but then once I started thinking about it, I was like, okay, well, this makes sense because he's going to be on. This reminds me of when Brady Taggart got injured a couple years ago, and then they brought him back. You can control things a little more if you put someone in as a starter than you can if you bring them out of the pen. So he's obviously going to be on a pitch count. You can kind of ease him into the game a little bit, and if he comes out and he doesn't have his stuff early, then you have one of your number one middle relievers come in, and maybe Jimenez would be the guy to come in.
Shoving,
man, he's been so good lately. But maybe him. Maybe it's Dylan Carter. I saw today someone was interviewing Coach Van Horn, and they were talking about they got a good report on Parker Coyle, and he should be back soon as well. So, maybe some of this is getting out of the way early to where, like you were talking about, you face the adversity now in April. That way, when you get beyond May 15th and you get into Hoover and you get into a regional and all that, you've already got this adversity out of the way. You know how to overcome it. You know who you can lean on if somebody was to go down. It looks like we probably lost Nolan Souza for the year based on, it's not official, but, Dave pretty much all but said Souza's done for the year. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah. And I'm okay with putting Gage Wood in on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Well, not Saturday, Friday now.
Yeah.
But, you're not going to put him in on Sunday because DVH has said for years how much he likes that Sunday position.
Mm-hmm.
Friday's supposed to be your ace, and Saturday. Golly, these days are messing me up. So on a normal week, Friday is supposed to be your ace. Saturday is supposed to be your second best pitcher, and Sunday is supposed to be your development best pitcher, basically.
Right.
They usually call it Johnny Bullpen days,
mm-hmm.
but with DVH putting Gage Wood in, it's kind of a testament of you're going to get 3 innings at least. You're going to get 3 innings and evaluate where you're at. Now, if you just look like crap after 1 inning, you're going to get ranked. But if they have about 3 to 4 runs by the end of the 3rd inning, you might get taken out just kind of depending on how you're feeling. And it's kind of smart for DVH because it'll give Gage a feeling of getting back into the season. And if he's just not having at that point, hey man, you can cut your ties early with him too.
Yeah.
But
so what do you think?
You can let him go.
What do you think pitch count wise? 50? You think 50 is probably the number?
So he had a shoulder injury, right? Or it was a mysterious injury.
Yeah, we don't really know if it was lower arm or if it was shoulder.
It happened in the Round Rock where looked like something just popped and he just walked right over to the bench. So what you're probably going to see is probably about 50 to 60 pitches, and then they're going to evaluate. If he's just going hard and just shoving after 60 pitches, hey, they might let him go. They might let him completely go the number 45 Kevin Kopps and see how far he can go.
Well, and I was looking back through some messages here from when he got hurt. So February 24th, I sent a message to one of my guys that I consider a good source. Said, hope Gage is okay. MRI on his throwing arm. And this guy said, I texted him about 20 minutes ago. He was still hurting pretty bad, but he didn't elaborate on anything. So I was trying to go back and see maybe if he had said whether it was lower arm or upper, and I just don't remember now. And they were pretty tight-lipped about it.
Honestly, what it could have been was a tendon could have just popped and not snapped or anything, but made his arm completely go numb, Mm-hmm. And we were early enough in the season. What was that? That wasn't the Kansas State game. Was that the Christians of the down south game?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So I mean, they pulled him for precautionary reasons, and that's what DVH said. So I'm, just speculating. Something could have happened. He could have gone numb in his arm. His shoulder might I can't reach backwards on my shoulder. It could have just had some shoulder tightness. But we have. Thank God for Matt Hobbs because we have a crazy amount of arms in our bullpen right now, and we were able to kind of let him set for this long.
Well, and it gave some other guys some opportunities that maybe they might not have gotten had Gage stayed healthy. You know, I mean, you look at some of these guys who have been pitching lately, you know, it give Fouch another opportunity, and then Parker Coyle goes down. And
Gabe Gibbler.
Yes, Gibbler was the next one I was going to mention. It gave him an opportunity, probably threw him in the fire a little bit before they wanted to, but I thought he's responded pretty well.
And honestly, the best thing for Gibbler that could have ever happened was that walk-off home run.
Yeah,
he will never forget that in his playing career now, of just being thrown to the wolves and saying, "Hey, you need to get 3 outs right now." And he got 2 of them, I think. Was it 2 or 1?
No, he had 2. It was 2 outs.
He had 2 outs and just left 1 pitch. You always have. It comes down to competing with every pitch. I think DVH has that sign up that says "win," which means like win every pitch and stuff like that. But I mean, it just goes down to you have to compete on every single pitch. Baseball is the best game.
I mean, it's you know, I was telling my dad last night, I was like, I enjoy baseball so much more now than I did when I actually played. You know, I played at the time as a kid because my boys were playing. You know, my buddies, we all played. We got out of school early to go play, but I didn't really apply myself like I could have. Now I'm looking at it and I'm like, my God, this game is awesome. You know, because just all the different moving pieces and all the cogs in the wheels have to line up perfectly, or you have a situation like what you had at Georgia. And let's not take anything away from Georgia. Wes Johnson has turned that program into an absolute monster very, very quickly.
Everybody thought they were going to fall off this year after they lost Charlie Condon.
Yeah, but he went out and got a couple more monsters, Zabo and the other guy that those two bat back to back. They're like 3 and 4 or 4 and 5, and those dudes look like they could be suiting up for Kirby, man, and playing offensive line because they are massive dudes, and they carry the big corn fed dudes that knock the ball into the next county. But it would not surprise me if Georgia makes a run. I mean, I could see them as a dark horse for Omaha. And I'm a big Wes Johnson fan too. I mean, Wes is, you know, he's a native Arkansan as well. I think he's a guy that should get some consideration.
Absolutely.
When Dave decides to hang it up, and I'm not trying to push Dave out by any means, but when he hangs it up, you know, everybody talks about, Tony Vitello or Bobby Wernes or Matt Hobbs or whatever. Don't forget about Wes Johnson. I think Wes Johnson should get a good look too.
I did not know Wes Johnson was an Arkansan. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, I had a buddy that coaches high school ball here, and Wes actually got to start coaching high school ball in Arkansas, and then just kind of moved up the ladder. And you know, when he left Arkansas, went to the Twins, and then he come back to LSU. I was like, oh God, we don't need him at LSU. Get him anywhere but there, because I remembered how good he was, because he was the pitching coach here with Blaine Knight and Isaiah Campbell and those guys in that 18-19 back-to-back Omaha trips. And I mean,
pride of Sherwood, Arkansas, graduated from Sylvan Hills.
There you go. Yep, that's the one and only. And it'll be interesting to see what Georgia does the rest of the year. And you know, Nabors was talking about this a little bit too. The next 5 series for baseball are just, I mean, they're just absolutely brutal. It's a murderer's row.
I mean, we play at least the top 2 teams besides ourselves, obviously.
Right. Well, and you know, we finish out the season with Tennessee, LSU, and Texas, I believe, are the final 3 series. And I mean, good Lord. I mean, can you want to just throw the Yankees in there while you're at it? I mean, because that's about as tough as it gets. Okay, so I'm getting the schedule pulled up right now. We go A&M at home this weekend. We have a 2-game midweek series with Little Rock next week, and don't overlook that, because they just upset Ole Miss.
Yep.
And then we go to Florida. That's never easy. And then on Tuesday, April 29th, your midweek game is not a gimme at all, because they've already beat us once this year. You got to go up to Springfield and play at Missouri State. And then after that, you just come back May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd for Texas coming into Fayetteville. And then you go, let's see, after that, you go Mother's Day weekend. You'll be at LSU at Alex Box. And then you close out the regular season at home against Tennessee. I mean, good Lord, man. I mean, there's nowhere in there to take a breath.
Absolutely not. That's the thing about, you know, people want to talk about SEC basketball and SEC football these past couple of years.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing tougher than SEC baseball.
baseball is right there with it, man. I mean, the joke, the slogan of it just means more. I mean, a lot of people take that as a joke, but it obviously does mean more because you see how good everybody is. I mean, it's unreal that, everybody talks about how tough football is. Baseball's just as tough, and basketball's got right there too now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I would like to see Arkansas. I mean, you got to take care of your home series. You gotta get 2 or 3 this weekend against A&M. And then from there, you're going to have to take it one at a time because you can't overlook anybody, even those midweek games with Little Rock and Missouri State. You can't overlook those either.
Hey, did you notice Sunday against Georgia who started in right field?
Right field.
You know who?
Oh, him? Oh.
He had 2 at-bats and got pinch hit.
Yeah, that's right. He did. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's in his own head or if he just never recovered from the shoulder injury or what, but he does not look the same as he did prior to that injury last year. So I don't know. Hopefully maybe he can get it figured out right here towards the end of the season. And because even if he comes off the bench, we're going to need him. Arkansas is going to need everybody.
I've been very critical of him, especially last year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say, throw him away. We don't need him. No, we need
no.
If he was to come back and like get on a tear and pull a Michael Turner at the end of the year, go for it, man. I hope that I put the chip on his shoulder,
Yeah.
Some people don't like that chip on their shoulder. Some people do. Maybe he's the one that likes it.
Maybe so. I mean, maybe can we get radio personality in Northwest Arkansas to call him a name or something and see if he goes, see if it works like it.
Well, I'm afraid the name that he would call. Never mind. Shut up.
I mean, it worked for Michael Turner, so who's to say we can't revisit the magic there? But anyway. Well, all right, D, we're about out of time here. We're going to get out of here. Appreciate John Nabors stopping by. Absolutely. And appreciate D sitting in with me, being goose to my Maverick tonight. And Zach's out taking care of some stuff. He's on special assignment, as we like to say in the business, and be back here within a couple weeks or so. But we're gonna make some calls and see if we can't get another big interview lined up for next week as well. And D, I enjoyed it, man. Any final thoughts?
Go Hogs.
There you go. That's about the best way you can leave it. So for Dylan Madden, I'm your boy MC, Marcus Carlton. We'll see you next time on Inside the Hog Pen.
Thanks for watching this episode of Inside the Hog Pen. Listen anytime on your favorite podcast provider, and be sure to follow us on all our social network channels.